All right, so I went through a whole bunch of IDEs to try to find something where you guys are able to run your code. There are different versions of online IDEs. All of them, you have to compile the code by hand, and it freaks out more frequently than actually just running. So, to make it about the easiest as possible, I'm going to kind of walk through. Um, This is the website, https://runmycode.online. You need to open it up in Chrome, and then it will, uh, you link this to so you'll have a button here if you're not logged in, where you will link to your GitHub account. After you do that, after you link to your GitHub account, it will, uh, and if it doesn't, you can click on the code sheet to see it, and you can choose the code that you want. Okay, so if I ran this, this is showing code. It's showing an import where it can import a scanner, and then it can run the class. There's a couple of, I guess I would say maybe some bugs in it, but let me show you how to run this. So if you're just trying to test code to show that it's working, you're going to kind of enter stuff a little bit out of order. So we know it has a scanner. It's going to say hello world from Java, and then the next thing that they type is going to get printed out, just so you can see that it works. So when you click run, it's going to show run, and you have an input and an output code. So if I click input, this is what is going to go into the program. It's going to be treated as first come, first serve. So if you have multiple keyboard in, next ints, next lines, all of that stuff for your program to run, and you were trying to run this from GitHub, just because, if you couldn't run IntelliJ at home or whatever, you would just have to keep in mind of what it's going to be asking. So I know that this is going to ask, it's going to print that line. So like my name is Redbeard. Okay. Now if I run that, it's going to take this input and it's going to put it in here for the scan next line, which is going to get printed out. It's going to compile it for us so we don't have to do that. So now see, it says the hello world from Java and my name is Redbeard. Okay, if I was changing this a little bit, so let's quickly retype some. And I'm just showing you kind of how this works so that I can show you how to do it with GitHub. So we still want our scanner. I just like calling it keyboard equals new scanner system.in. Okay, and let's say we're going to do int x and y, and we're going to print out system.out.println. Give me a number, and we capture that as our x. X is equal to keyboard.next int. Okay, the issue when you're trying to do something without an IDE is that we are not going to, it's not going to check errors, it's just going to fail. So we want to be a little bit mindful of where our possible errors could be. This would be my Y. And then we'll print out the total system out print line. The sum is the sum of Reba x and y is is okay. All right. So this is going to take two inputs. So here in the input, when I'm wanting to run it, I need to make sure that I'm putting into input. So say I'm going to pick 5 for my X. I'm going to pick 7 for my Y. I have to put an enter. I can't put them right next to each other. Okay. So then I'm going to run it. And I have an error. I didn't close it enough. System out print line. And 16. Oh, I can't find that. Sweet. X, Y. I just played with this. Yeah, let's just do this. Okay. So I don't even know what the error was. Give me another number, give me another number. Those would have printed out and it would have paused for the next ints, except we just passed them earlier as 5 and 7. I could probably run this because next int does not go to a separate line. I could probably run it like this and it will be fine. But you have to be mindful of what needs to go in your code for it to run. Okay. Now that you see how it's working, this is basically how it's working for any of your programs. On Chrome, if you click here, you can add the extension. It's going to add this up here so that if you were going into, say, code tutorial, tutorial point, you could run directly. So, here we have a class for puppy. We could run, and it's going to run that code and print out all of the stuff that we have so we can test if our code is running correctly. Now, this is what I noticed was a problem with this code. Oops. Is if imports are fine, but it seems like it does not work if you have something other than like a normal scanner, like if you have a package at the top. So if you are on, so once you add that, then this button is going to show up in your code. So you could go into your code, and so I have like an online IDE test. So this code will not normally run. This is just holding our information, will tell us how many commits and stuff. If I go ahead and click run, that would do that online run my code. That's what the Chrome button would actually do. So now I could actually choose to run it. Here I have my scanner, I have my X and Y, asking for my X, asking for my Y, and then printing out. So let's go ahead and I'll put my 5, my 7. And then you get this error, could not find or load main class main. Okay, this is the fix for it. If you click edit when you're trying to run your code, you have to just, you could just control X and just cut out that package line. And if you ran again, same thing. So on all your code, it looks like you just have to cut out the package line and then it will run fine. So you could show, if you weren't able to run it on IntelliJ, you could show me the code is running and what it's doing, but you would have to put all of the input all at once, all at the very start before you even run the program. Let's see if we did it just one at a time. it fails. So if you were to try to run your code and you did not have IntelliJ at home, this would be one possible way. You are not able to download and run IntelliJ on any Chrome OS, so this would be the fix, which would mean that you'd have to go into your edit on your main.java file for your program, click on edit, and just cut the package off before you click run, and you'll be able to run. You just have to put all of your inputs in before you do anything in the game or program. So doing that, I will have my output. This is my program running. I can test how it is. This is not going to work for huge, robust programs, but for some of the small stuff, this would work fine. Okay, so this would print. If I didn't have anything for input, I don't need to put anything in there. So if it was just a simple hello world, so let's go to a different one. I got an initial hello world, I think. All right, so if I wanted to print this one, again, I'm looking at it. If I click run, this is going to fail because I have that package in there. So I got to run it without the package. So I got to click edit. I'm going to cut this out, and then I can run. And since I don't need anything as input, it's just going to print out what it was. So the hello and the world. Okay? So that is one fix for if you're not able to do IntelliJ. And again, that is https://runmycode.online/ and then you can go to the code sheet after you authorize your GitHub, add the Chrome extension so you can do that. And anytime that you see code showing up in other places, you could directly run it to see what it does. Okay? All right.